And welcome into the Big Ten Huddle. We presented and brought to you by FanDuel. We appreciate you being here as we are going to be going over Iowa and Oregon. In this episode, I'm going to give you 3 reasons why Iowa beats Oregon in this game. Now, I predicted that Oregon would get the win on the show. However, I don't feel super confident in it either way. So I'm also making a video like this about Oregon as well. 3 reasons why they would win the game too. So these are kind of my 3 keys to the game that if Iowa wins, you're going to see Iowa very successful in these areas to be able to get the win over Oregon. Now, obviously, it's at Kinnick. That is a huge advantage. I'm not going to make that one of my 3 keys here because I do think that kind of gets overused. Not because Kinnick isn't obviously big to play at, but it's just such an easy thing to say, right? So I want to give you kind of a little bit more of game analysis and what's going on with Iowa, what they do well, and what they need to do well in this game in order to win. So here next to me, I have the FanDuel odds of Oregon at Iowa. Currently, Oregon favored by 6.5. The over/under set at 40.5, which does indicate that this is probably going to be a very low-scoring game. Weather looks like cold, possible snow, a little bit rainy maybe, and this one if it gets a little bit higher up there in the temperature. So this is going to be a true Big Ten type of matchup here. Fortunately for Oregon, they are one of the better equipped teams that is coming into the Big Ten that will be able to kind of get through this Big Ten rock fight. We're going to see a very powerful run offense in Iowa go up against a powerful run offense in Oregon, and I expect to see a whole lot of running with some pass mixed in as well, especially with the weather being the way it is supposed to be. So let's get into it. The 3 reasons why I think Iowa will win this game if they do win it. And the first one is the special teams for Iowa. Kaden Wiegand is the most dynamic kick returner, punt returner in the nation, and he has to be able to get free, get out in space, and really make some moves, use his athleticism, his speed to be able to get around Oregon. Now, Oregon is not bad on special teams, but it's definitely not, this is not an area where they super excel at. So obviously, Kaden Wiegand is the main player that you're going to look at in this type of scenario, but I also want to bring up the kicking situation, as I do think field goals are going to be at a premium in this game as well, because both defenses are going to be very stout and both defenses are going to be, it's not going to be a whole lot of big plays here and there. You might see some big plays in the run game, but I don't think it's going to be a big play fest. So I think in the red zone, you're going to see these two defenses do well. Oregon struggled a little bit in the red zone this season, but I think that Tosh Lapoy will have these dudes ready for this one. Now, if you look at the kicking stats, Iowa, they are 16 of 21 on the season, 5 misses for them overall. Oregon is 8 of 12 in their kicking game. Atticus Sappington has really kind of regressed a little bit this season. I felt like he was much more reliable before this year. Don't know really what the issues are there. But if field goals are at a premium in this game, you could see Iowa kick 2, maybe even 3. They're averaging 2 field goals a game right now. So is it possible they get to 3 field goals and this is a game where it's, 23-20 or something like that? It's very possible that could happen. And if that's the case, I think that continues to benefit Iowa because Iowa is such a great situational football team, whether it's on third down in the red zone. They do such a good job of playing good, strong situational football. It's a sign of them being a very well-coached team, not just with Kirk Ferentz, but the coordinators and Tim Lester and Phil Parker as well. So in these type of games where field goals are at so much of a premium and it is kind of a lower scoring, kind of rock fighty game, a little bit, you do see situational football be such a big thing. It would not surprise me if Iowa is able to get this win with a big stop on fourth down, with Oregon, driving late into the fourth quarter or something. They get the stop on fourth down, and that's kind of the turning point there. Oregon can't score and go up by 1 point or anything like that. Iowa, they've kicked 3 field goals in this game, and that's what they needed to be able to get the lead. I do think that's a very likely possibility if you see the special team teams for Iowa here do well. I'm talking maybe a kick return, a punt return touchdown, a few different field goals. Mark Gronowski obviously is going to contribute as well with his running ability in the red zone. He makes him very dangerous. So as long as this Iowa team is able to move the ball down the field, which they should be able to, they have very good running game. And the passing game has improved as of late as well, and they're doing a nice job of using the outside guys on the outside. Reese Vanderzee has been a really good addition back to this team. We saw that in the Minnesota game, and so I do think this is a very special part of this game that Iowa, as always, really needs to dominate in. Number two, turnovers. I need to see Iowa get multiple turnovers in this game. And if not multiple turnovers, they need to not turn it over at all and force Oregon into at least one turnover. Now, this Iowa team does a really good job of forcing turnovers on the year. They have 9 interceptions on the season. They do a fantastic job of pressuring the quarterback, and Oregon has a very good offensive line. They're susceptible to pass rush in some ways. We've seen that. The Indiana game forced that. We saw it a little bit against Penn State as well. However, holding wasn't exactly called a whole lot in that game, so that was part of the issue there too. But we've seen Dante Moore get pressured back there, and I think with really strong secondary play, being able to jump the routes and do those kinds of things, you could see Iowa get 1, 2, maybe even 3 interceptions in this game on Dante Moore. Look, Dante Moore is not a bad quarterback. He's obviously one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. He's getting first round type of hype and buzz right now for the NFL draft, but he has thrown 3 interceptions in his past 3 games. You had the one that was kind of fluky against Rutgers, and then you had 2 in that Indiana game. And that Indiana defensive line was really able to put the pressure on Dante Moore, and when pressure was happening toward him, that was when he threw, he threw some of those bad balls. And obviously, like I said, he had 2 interceptions in that game, only 1 touchdown pass. So Max Llewellyn, he is going to be a key with his 6 sacks on the season. He's been fantastic. He's been one of my favorite pass rushers to watch in the Big Ten so far this season, and also the interior of that Iowa defensive line is much stronger than some people give them credit for, and they're going to be able to get pressure up the middle. They're going to really test these young Oregon running backs, and I think this is where the breakdown can happen sometimes for this Oregon team in pass protection. Is Jordan Davison, De'Aaron Hill, Noah Whittington, they are good running backs with the ball in their hand, but you can see some struggles with how young Davison and De'Aaron Hill are. That they are not always the best in pass protection. So if that does happen, you could see possibly somebody get into Dante Moore's face, whether they sack him, whether they are able to force an errant throw that's going to go to Zach Lutmer or Carson Sharer or somebody like that that's going to be able, Xavier Nwankpa, they're 2 of the biggest guys that you need to worry about there in the secondary. Zach Lutmer has been huge this season with making impactful plays with turnovers, and I think with Phil Parker moving him to where he did in the defense, it's going to be evident once again, and I think that this Iowa secondary is going to be opportunistic. If they are able to force 1, maybe 2 interceptions on Dante Moore, I like their chances a whole lot more to get the win in this game. And finally, Oregon does not have the best run defense. Now, we've heard a lot about Oregon and how good they are against the pass, the number 1 pass defense in the nation. And yes, that is true. Definitely something that needs to be talked about with this team. But overall, this Oregon defense has not been the best at stopping the run. Iowa's run first offense is producing 4.8 yards per carry right now, and that directly targets Oregon's vulnerable rush defense. In success rate, they are 125th in the nation, allowing 58.22% success rate for opposing teams' rush offense. Now, if you're allowing that much, that is not a good situation. I hear a lot of people talking about Amari Washington, Bear Alexander there in the middle, making it difficult for them. And while they have been better than I expected, at least Bear Alexander to be this season, these teams are still being able to run on this Oregon team with some success. This doesn't mean that they're breaking off big runs. Success rate means just basically that they are on schedule or ahead of schedule when they run or when a team runs the ball against them. And as we know, this Iowa team, they are going to be very happy if, as long as they stay on schedule, to just run the ball on you, choose some clock, dominate the time of possession, and that's going to make it even harder for Oregon to be able to score and really get out in front in this game. So those are kind of my key three keys to this game for Iowa to be able to win. I'm really looking forward to this game. I think it's going to be a fun one. CBS 3:30. Like I said on FanDuel, Oregon is favored by 6.5, but that is definitely something that if I were betting this game, I would choose Iowa to cover in this one. There's definitely the possibility of Oregon blowing them out, as there is with just about any game out there in college football nowadays. But I think this is going to be a low scoring affair. This is going to be one that Iowa is in until the end, and I just think there are too many possibilities with Iowa being able to score without their offense that you can't say that Oregon's just going to completely dominate this game and take Iowa out of it. The interceptions, the kick return, the punt return, special teams, all these things, I think it makes Iowa too threatening, and they have too good of a defense that they won't let Oregon just kind of go out there, run all over the place, throw all over the place, and get out to a 14, 20-point lead and really start the blowout against Iowa. Really good game coming up for us. I appreciate you being here. Give me your score predictions, your thoughts, everything down in the comments. Would love to hear from you Iowa football fans, because this has been your Iowa football 3 keys to win for Iowa against Oregon. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Have a good one.